All right, it is stream time again. Welcome. I don't think I announced this one, but I might have announced the possibility of one. And after going through my records, I did indeed find another one nighter to do. And I'm trying to clear the backlog as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna get this going. So for those of you tuning in after the fact, today's videos are going to be, sorry, not videos, photos are going to be from a series of trips in 2004 that I took visiting my ex-girlfriend up in New Haven, or she wasn't in New Haven, but up in Connecticut. And I just bundled a bunch of NEC photos into a set. So I'm just going to be, one second. I'm just going to be going through those. Should be a full night. A lot of good stuff here. And I think it'll be pretty fun. So anyway, we shall begin. Let's see if we have anybody in. Don't think so. But we'll have people here soon enough. Anyway, starting off at New Haven. Once again, I know I've mentioned this before. I had a major issue, especially in the film era, of just numbering New Haven photos in order. So it's very difficult. Like, effectively, all of my New Haven things are unsearchable, but I'm fixing that now. This is ever since 99, 2000, Amtrak stopped running a lot of through cars up to the New Haven line, replacing it with the Springfield to New Haven shuttle, which would allow you to connect across the platform with Amtrak trains. Didn't quite get the fun power changes you used to anymore, but it was probably a lot faster and very convenient. At the time, the shuttles were 2 cars, and I think that they might still be 2 cars, but with the Connecticut Commuter Rail offering the same. Connecticut Commuter Rail also tickets being accepted on Amtrak trains. The ridership has gone up enough. So here we have the shuttle rolling into New Haven track 3 for the across the platform over to track 1. The New Haven, like a lot of railroads, uses the 1324 system, because as they added tracks, they didn't want to have to go through the expense of having to renumber them. While I was there, some Metro North F10s were in town. These I had previously ridden behind on a trip to Passaic. Unfortunately, I lost the masters of that, so I'm not going to be doing those on a stream. One of the few sets I did end up losing the masters to, and unfortunately, but something that was fortunately rare. People might make the assumption that these are FL9s, if just assuming that it's Metro North, it's an F-ish unit. But no, the Metro North actually had a number of what they called F10s, which were some sort of I forget if they were an F unit rebuild or an FP rebuild. But they were all no dual mode BB former freight units, or I said FPs. Oops, I don't have my. Do I have my Metro North book in here? No, I don't have my Metro North book with me. In fact, I'm going to really need that. So 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. I have these wonderful. Oops, that's not the right book. Hold on. was actually behind me the whole time. I got this wonderful Metro North book that, let's make sure everything's going on here. I have this wonderful Metro North book, track chart that has every switch and signal label in it, as well as the date that the switches were put in, and the rail weight, and everything. So I have one for 2012 and 2019. So I'm just using this to label the switch there. I'm probably gonna. I have two pictures of these guys. So I'm gonna label the first one as part of the interlocking, and the second one as. What's this? Oh yeah, that's the 2RA switch they have for pocket tracks back when they did more power changes. I'll get going here. So this was not very far into the Phase 5 era, and already the trains were looking grungy. It probably had something to do with the flat fronts, but AEM 7s just always looked dirty. And I'm just suspecting it was from bug splat. And the bugs just not being redirected in any aerodynamic fashion, just going splat. One of the side effects of me not labeling these New Haven photos properly is I probably lost a good deal of like being able to determine. I never did like a how many, which AEM 7s was I missing. I think I got most all of them that weren't on fire, but because of this these New Haven photos are very early. There might be a few that later got into wrecks, or like I said, caught fire, that I later did not have an opportunity to take photos of. Now here we go. Here's 410 and 411, or 411 and 410. Probably on some sort of Danbury local train set. Not sure why it would be in New Haven Station. But these were generally replaced by the BL20 order. They're probably running in a pair due to unreliability. But yeah, I was in New Haven a lot up through about 2005. At which point, I was trying to see what I can do here. At which point, the relationship ended, and I had no real reason to get up there very much anymore, except for the occasional class reunion or alternate friend. Yeah, you can see I'm starting to get some diversity of aspect ratio there. What else we got? Number 941 again. Also note all the M2s. As much as I missed the M2s, they weren't the most exciting design. All the Metropolitan Cosmopolitan family. It's odd. Like, I know that they completed the electrification through to Boston sometime in 2000. Maybe Acela I know started in 2000. I don't know when they started the through trains to Boston. I need to go look that up. It could have been a little later, but I remember that power change going on for more than like a few months. I didn't ride Amtrak constantly when I was in school up there, but oh, here's a great photo I have. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. So I think I even got this one accepted in the railpictures.net back in the day when the standards were lower. And the way I did that was I manually edited out that trash bag using I think I did it. I don't think whatever I had a clone tool on it. So I think I just did it manually with cutting and pasting. I could probably try clone tooling that out now. It is kind of gross, but no, I did the edit and I got it whatchamacallit? I got it removed. Oops. Let's see if I can make this happen. Pretty good. Yeah. Should have probably gone for a bigger clone tool. But, this is not something I have to do a lot. Usually I have to do this when I'm working with a panorama, like a stitch. And what you get is you have like those sort of weird, where we get the sort of fish, not a fisheye, but, it looks like an old Panavision type of thing. And there it goes. And you have those sort of the parts that don't really work with the thing. See, look, all gone. And what was I gonna say? I'm gonna bump that up a little bit more. I use it for those because you don't want to necessarily crop it out. You don't want to have the black borders or the curved black borders. So sometimes if it's in the clouds or something, that's where I always break out the cut paste or the clone tool or whatever, and I sort of fill that in. Oh, I've already sharpened it. All right. Hey, see? There you go. Looking great. No more trash bag. I think that's a first for this series. I never really had to break out the old cheat to make my photo look good technique. See, people are there. Hi. Oh, some SPVs. I don't know where these went. I think they're still around. Because ultimately, I don't think the shells are bad. Which number is that? Looks like 1676. For those who don't know what these are CDOT seldom powered vehicles. These were Bud's attempt at updating the RDC concept for the 1980s using an Amfleet shell. I don't know what they did, but what failed was the drivetrain. And I don't know why they had an easy time, succeeded. Like, they did it once, but they screwed it up the second time. I actually rode in these once when on an Amtrak Thanksgiving. When Amtrak leased a bunch, well, they had to use them on the Springfield shuttle, and it wasn't intentional. Like, I actually got a coupon for like 20% off my next Amtrak trip. And that was a good coupon too, because you could there was no restrictions on it. But it was like we're sorry, you have to use the commuter equipment. Here's the 20% off coupon. I'm thinking yes, I'm on some SPVs. This is great. I could not be more happy. Here we have a picture of the old SS-53 Greens Farms Tower. We're going to get back to Greens Farms in a little bit. So I think it's Greens Farms. Greens Farm, I'm sorry. I always wonder why it's Greens Farm and not just Farm. And I want to check that out real quick. It's going to be between Bridgeport and Stamford. Somewhere in there. There it is. Yep. It says Greens Farm? Alright, let's check the thing here. Okay, this is Green's Farms. So, all right, that's okay. I have a good hint. I have a good feeling that we're gonna get this one done pretty quick tonight. More walk. So, walk tower replaced SS-44 Burke in the 80s at some point. I think around 86, and then it was eventually closed in 84. This is up there on that list of newest towers constructed, but I don't quite think it's going to. I think that Harold came after this. I did do a post on what the newest old stuff was, and I didn't really consider Walk, but I think that Harold was 87, 88, and this is 86. So I'm pretty sure that this was a little bit before Harold. Okay, there we go. Gotta get that red tint out of there. Here's another angle of it. For anyone who doesn't know, the Danbury branch actually used to be electrified. But the New Haven dumped the wire sometime in the 50s. It was part of New Haven was actually was prepared to eliminate all electrification. They were when they got into some pretty hairy financial straits in the 50s and 60s. The New Haven's plan was to run everything with FL9s into Grand Central, would just dual mode it and scrap all the overhead and sell it for the copper value. Fortunately, they did not, but in the lead up to that, so like their trial balloon was eliminating Danbury electrification, which, unfortunately has probably dampened ridership on the line today. But as someone pointed out to me, the major problem with the Danbury branch is the Harlem line, because if you're in Danbury, it's like a 10-minute drive to get to Brewster, and the Danbury branch is just curvy and slow. So that's why people tend to avoid it. So yes, of course there are other stations. I think that CDOT's best bet would be to extend electrification up to the route. They have a park and ride on that. Oh, great. There's a park and ride up there, and all they would need to do is extend electrification a couple miles up to that park and ride, and that would give, that would be able to use that as an intermediate terminal. They could probably do a study to see what number of people are, what of their Bridgeport or originating trains. But then you run the risk of having too many service patterns. Of course, you could always have them start at you could take Stamford locals. I wonder if there's any New Canaan through trains. I wonder where this is. I have no idea. It's going to have to be... Well, I can look at... This could be anywhere. Yeah, I got no clue. So these are just an active New Haven. These are section breaks on the anchor catenary. It looks like this is going to be in the 1918 portion, but it could be one of many of them. So I'm just going to have to label it generically. Everybody's favorite tower at SS22 at New Rochelle. Some of this red tint that is coming in here is from the Amfleet windows. Like I said, I'm able to pull off a lot of the older file names. The tower names, I don't mind them being generic. I mean, they're not generic as in you don't know what they are, but they're generic in that they're just sort of sequentially numbered. All the angles I had back in the day were from Amtrak trains, so the pictures would, there's very little good way to differentiate them. Okay, here we have the coming into Herald interlocking, or this is the LIRR main line signal bridge. I should be able to get the numbers off of it. This is number 23, but looks like there's a little bit of a thing there. See if I can color balance this. There it goes. Of course, this is all gone. This is now part of the whole East Side Access thing that they did. So this got zapped. Unfortunately, let's see, signaling. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Mainline signal 22. Yeah. I'm going to extend this series because I don't have a lot of other options. But hey, I picked up a picture of a signal that I didn't have before. Oops, need to give it a little bit of a save and sharpen. There you go. Yeah, not great. Gonna be a little red, red shifted from the whatever, but best I can do. Here we have Harold's westbound signal. This is where I definitely need to get into. Try to deconflict the file names. But I'd have to fiddle around with that, so I'm just going to deal with this. Herald had one issue I always got with the Herald photos is that it had even before it was rebuilt, it would have at least 1, 2, 3 signal bridges on each of 2 sections. So you'd have a home signal, an inner signal bridge, and an exit signal, but those are usually automatics. But then you get the whole issue of like, how do I label this if it's a reverse home signal and an automatic? Usually I would just have to be clunky and sort of describe exactly which one it is. So for example, this would be westbound. That would be south. These are all used safe train equipment. This was done in the 1986, 87, 88 time frame, and they went with the cheaper equipment and the GRS electric point machines. Those have since have been or are being cycled out in ESA, just due to reliability concerns. Here we have some Penn Station A5s. Um, at various points, while Penn Station, if you remember that whole like year of hell thing they were talking about with a complete overhaul of some of this stuff, after like trains were just starting to derail, they just couldn't keep the tracks engaged anymore. I mean, it's all slow speed, so it wasn't really dangerous or anything. I don't know which ones these are, but I have a Penn Station. I should have a Penn Station diagram here in my New Jersey Transit thing, because otherwise my Penn Station diagrams are not here. So there's a Hoboken terminal diagram, but they usually put the Amtrak stuff in here somewhere. Here we go. That looks like it. Nope, that's just Sunnyside Yard. No, wait, sorry, Meadowlands Maintenance Complex. You can't see what I'm talking about. Here's the Penn Station diagram. Yeah, these NJT track diagrams are just absolutely golden. So I can see that we have, looks like one ends in a 7 and one ends something else, and it's in that sort of, that old scissors crossover area. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. Let me just see what I can get here on this. This is the area that's now been covered over by a hotel. One thing that PR would like to do, and it's carried forward today somehow, within its complex interlocking, you'd have like weirdo track numbers. Like in the intermediate part of Penn Station, all the tracks would have an X prefix, would have an X suffix. So your track would go from like track 2 and track 3 to track 3X, track 4X. It helped the signalmen yell instructions at each other. The question is, what are those switches? Yeah, 83 and that's 83 and 73. Put this away. There we go. Yeah, I can't get this picture anymore. Okay. Next. Here's something I noticed at Morris. At first, I think at one point I thought that they had, wasn't sure if they were replacing the signal or putting in a new position light. What they ultimately did was something happened to the ladder. So they just sort of put on this temporary thing. One thing that my camera was, my old junk camera was actually pretty good at was getting reasonable photos at speed. I take these today with all sorts of stuff, and they're always blurry. This one always seemed to do a pretty good job. I'm not sure. Sort of like my cell phone can. Probably just some mod in it to, boosting ISO or whatever that reduced resolution. Low resolution probably let you get pretty fast shutter speeds without blur effect. I have to keep that dang NJT booklet handy. That's not the right one. Okay. This is, sorry, not this is lane interlocking, by the way, if I didn't say that. There it is. That would be the 8W signal off the, this used to be the old freight flyover. Now it is covering track 1. Lane Tower was a wooden affair on that embankment, and that's why it's not there anymore. Union. Still in service here. I think this, man, it's been, I remember when Union was going out of service. That was sad. I think it was 2009. Wow. This is a pretty good picture from a, this is no, one thing I began to notice on my Amtrak pictures was, after a certain point, after this phase of camera, anytime we were traveling at reduced speeds, the blur would go down. I think, I'm guessing that it was something having to do with just, bad, just low resolution allowed for higher sort of ISO settings. Union was built with an all-electric machine, which is I think it was built around 1912. Wish I had a number on this guy. We were pacing this guy too, or something. I'm not sure, because either we stopped next to it somewhere or what. I don't know. Again, mid 2000s was when was when Conrail was still on the scene. The automated color balance isn't working well. Probably a GP40 or an SD40. You can see the dynamic brake grid. Grundy Tower. Again, still there, still a pneumatic interlocking. Not very easy to access for photos. It's in the middle of nowhere. You can sort of get behind the tower, but you don't get any good vantage points like at Holmesburg Junction or some of the other places. I mean, all the Amtrak NEC junctions are bad for casual signal photography. I mean, you can't go traipsing around for the most part. I will say that the earlier pandemic lockdowns did provide some opportunities. This was when Morris was being re-signaled from its pneumatic plant to handle the Morrisville yard and maintenance facility. And we got this new signal bridge here. Not sure really what to do with it. It's kind of a junk photo, but I feel like this picture seems to be like no, you're right. I'd be going south toward Baltimore. No. This is taken north. Or wait. Yeah, this is I'd have to be wrong railing at this point, because that faces to the west, and this is what the tracks would be. These would be the eastbound tracks. I'm not sure what's going on here. Not too much more to say on that one. I think I have a better photo of it later, so we can ignore this for now. Yes. So I did mention that this was going to consist of a number of NEC trips. We've just jumped from one NEC trip to another NEC trip. So Grundy was that last picture going south, and now I'm going back north, and I'm back, north past Morris, and now we're in Penn Station again. So one thing right here I want to highlight. I think I might have to get it cropped. Is we have a. That's not what am I doing here? I gotta do the selection. There you go. This guy, right? Oops, circle. This guy there. Can't really see it. There's a gooseneck signal, one of several. This is the 9th or 10th Avenue bridge where the old hole used to be. So this is entering Penn Station through the Scissors crossovers. Again, this is the part that has now been covered over by a hotel. I mean, I guess Amtrak needs the money, but it kind of stinks. Oops. God, this track diagram I'm looking at, it's like a booklet, but it has the giant like stuff folded it like in these giant fold outs that are very susceptible to damage. That would appear to be the 8967 Diamond. And I don't know. There might be some jumping around in this. I might have been switching things. Because now we're back in North Philadelphia. And unfortunately, this guy just got scrapped. I don't know about this Jeep. Probably not. Looks like former Conrail GP whatever 2880, and then a caboose. I think that Jeep is being used something else. This sounds like a job for Google. Conrail 2880. U30B. No, that's not it. Be 2000, or hold on, that's an NS number. There it is, GP38. Hard to figure out what the history on this one was, because the one in the pictures have a high hood. Let's ask Judiana Terminal. So anyway, so the Judiana Terminal Railroad, owned by a local businessman, Bennett Levin, he purchased a sort of facility outside of Philadelphia. Hold on, I can show you where it is. And he's it's where he put up the signs saying to fire Anderson. He keeps his Pennsylvania E8s there, and he runs a number of terminal switching. He does a lot of contract switching work. NJT, the River Line, would rent him his stuff out. So it's right next to this giant paper company. He has some. He has a play space right there. and in front of it was a old passenger car. There's the E unit. There's something else. There's more something else, and then there's some whatever. So here we have a Conrail Jeep that I can't get the number off of, a caboose, and the Amtrak. I'm just going to label this as a Judiana terminal deadline, because that'll help it up. But I might send this photo around to people to figure out like what the heck was parked there in 2004. But unfortunately, the E unit was just scrapped. I actually learned something. I always thought it was like, why are people scrap? I know that they're rusty and old, but they're not making any heritagey looking locomotives anymore. Like, why not just sell them and some tourist line and gut it? And I finally learned that EMD, all those E and F units, the sides aren't metal. They're sheet metal sandwiched plywood. And they had other rust issues too. So those get scrapped just because the whole upper part rusts away. And if you need to rebuild that anyway, you could put a streamlined shell around anything. So that's the 411 on why those get scrapped so often. Okay. Yep, it looks like we're done with our second half. Sorry for any confusion with going up or down. There's like a bunch of photos that are mashed together here. But I think we're past the sort of confusion part. Let's see if we have any questions. Yeah, Caltrain, well, Caltrain has a dot car that I don't know that they have like an SPV, but I don't know if it was one of the C dot ones. The C dot ones are shells. The one that Caltrain has, I think, actually still has its is like the last one that has the guts in it for self propulsion, but it's not used for self propulsion. Oh, it looks like someone got a vestibule ride. All right, let me just finish up this last bit here. Yeah. I was actually just at North Philly not too long ago for the Thanksgiving Wednesday, such as it was. Okay, where are we going here? I really want to cut that pole out. Okay. It's going to be a squish, but I got it in there. I'd love to go figure out if North, like, of long tower names, like, how does North Philadelphia rank in terms of number of letters? One of the I'd always say I kind of killed the photo. Whenever I used to be able to take Amtrak past North Philadelphia at night, when it was still open before 2005, you could look up and through the front window and see the model board. You had to look quick, but you could see the model board with your with the where your train was on it. It was pretty neat. So back in Baltimore, this is I've mentioned it before. This is that wall that collapsed in 2014. They put up something that looks similar, but it's not. It's concrete faced with stone-looking texture, as opposed to granite. I don't know what happened to all these granite blocks. They got moved out somewhere, and if anyone was smart, they would have either grabbed them or CSX would have sold them, because those didn't get damaged, and they're perfectly cut square granite blocks. So I don't know what happened to those. Here we just have an AC 4400 number 550. The AC 4400s are to CSX what the Dash 9s were to NS. They bought like 600 of each, and they are, even to this day, are kind of the core of their systems. Although CSX is starting to get rid of them. Although, you can probably find what I actually called this one. The night stuff. Sorry, I will just trying to get this guy's name here. June 2014, a little bit more. Actually, I can look up what those names are. Okay, I'm way past it. Sorry, I'm just trying to find what the original file name was. There it is. Huh. Strange. Yeah, that's all those. I might have done those out of order. Yeah, I'm just gonna rename this. Oops, overdid that. It wasn't too long after this that they ran through with a slot train and like removed all the foliage. I'm sure they have valid drainage reasons to do, but it always had this sort of urban jungle look to it. In fact, there's the brush cleaning going on, and from a different, this is, so I guess this photo would have had been before this. There it is. Yeah, okay. And here we have another AC 4400. These would have been pretty new at the time. Yeah, CSX had a. I think they still have them. They had a very early run of Dash 9s that are effectively Dash 9 prototypes. I've said this before. The trucks are Dash 8, but they had some Dash 9 internals or whatever. Those, at least last time I checked, were still operating on CSX. But it was after that they decided to go with the whole AC system. Okay, here we are back on Amtrak and me doing my thing. And here we have the new Morris. Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna. Oh, I know where I can find this. First off, okay, those aren't helpful. And double check. make sure I'm just naming this. I always have that. Amtrak gives me a lot of the issues where it's like normally for towers, I don't put the railroad name first. But for other interlockings, if there's a tower at an interlocking, sometimes I'll try to split the difference. Since Morris was completely rebuilt after this signal bridge went in, that's sort of the point that I break it into being like, all right, you've lost your like special tower privileges. All right. Save. I think I was actually, I remember because I was trying to see what was going on with the whole interlocking with Morris here. Again, I'm really impressed by the sharpness of the photos. But of course, we would be slowing down to a stop at Trenton by now. There we go. So here we have, Morris was one of the nicer pneumatic plants, and this was when they were in the process of converting it over to electric. Midway, am I gonna have, I gotta have Morris on here. There it is. So that's gonna be the 12 switch. Oh man, it's dark. I gotta brighten this up. There it goes. There we go. And here we have, again, you can see the 21 switch is pneumatic and the 34 switch is now electric. You can see I'm trying to get specifically trying to get pictures of the switches. And this is when I was really starting to become aware of the prolonged assault on interesting things. It did come with removable point frogs, though. I guess I was on one of those early morning trains that don't stop at Trenton, which is really nice. You don't tend to notice it. At least at the time, I'm pretty sure still today, NJT has such good Trenton service that they don't stop a bunch of morning trains. So you get the whole, like, you feel like you're on an AX blasting through Trenton without having to stop. It's fun. That's probably why the conductor wasn't there hassling me. Those would be the 2 and 3 AW signals. Here up at Union. No work was starting on Union, but I still wanted to get photos. Once you become aware that stuff can get zapped pretty quick. I'm going to have to go and pull out the diagram on Union. So this is the monster Union signal bridge that's still there but not quite used. Like many older interlockings, Union would have intermediate signals because it made the logic easier. Instead of just having things, at the what Amtrak did was they just split it up into a bunch of different interlockings, but they also extended the limits. This was going to be your intermediate signal bridge, and let's see what I have in my tower zone, just in case I don't need to really. I'm just going to keep the original names probably. Gosh, I didn't even try to adjust straighten it. Ugh. So this is the ramp, the North Jersey coastline ramp. So there's actually 3 tracks. There's a ramp over here, over there. That far. In this section between Elmore and Union, you have 6 main tracks, 1 through 4, and A and B. A track, or I gotta find this. Here you go. Yeah, 1 to 4 and A and B. B being past 4. So A, 1, 2, 3, 4, B. B, there's one connection to the coastline down there on the A track. You have then 2 Y connections. One here that you can see, and then one over there that you can't really see, between tracks 4 and B, and this one between tracks 2 and 3. So, and this was your intermediate home signal that again just made the locking a lot easier, with all kinds of reverse direction dwarfs and this, that, and the other thing. It was built as an all electric plant with US&S, whatever the electric switch they had back then was, like M1s or M2s. Who knows what they had in 1912. Here we just have a nice picture of Union. Yeah, I can do a better job with that. Okay. Let's try to tone down this purple. When I was going to New Haven, I could do certain things like, don't need that. I always had the option of taking a Keystone to New York and then Metro North. Here we have the what I call the gantry lever, half cantilever, half signal gantry bridge. I say gantry because that's what the British say, and since Americans understand it, I usually just use the British one. Sometimes I like to sound fancy, but in this case, I think the term is more unambiguous, especially since there's other kind of bridges. So I can say something like eastbound gantry and not have to then say eastbound bridge, and then it's ambiguous of what I'm talking about. So it lets me just use a one-word descriptor and make it unambiguous. So here we have the gantry lever. That's still there, but it has new LED signals. That mast is still there with new LED signals. And I think that these tracks 1 and A are still Rule 251 with dwarfs. This is just, forget about gantry. This is just Union eastbound signals. It's all of them. Okay, now we've cut ahead a bit more. In the Metro North era, you had all sorts of, you generally had, like most roads, like typical crossovers at a regular distance. Gotta get my other diagram out. But for some bizarre reason, they had nothing between Norwalk and Bridgeport, which is kind of like the gap between Trenton and Midway. So, for example, Stamford, Norwalk, the Stamford complex is at 2 milepost 41, and your Bridgeport complex is at 255. So it's a little long. In the early 2000s, they got 2004 specifically. I mean, that's when they got put in. They were able to restore what used to be SS 53 Greens Farms. It is now, it is officially CP 248, but it's the heritage is the Greens Farms interlocking that was closed, and I was looking at before. That's why I didn't talk about it back then, earlier in the night. This is one of the rare instances. I think it's the only instance I'm aware of. As they were building from a clean sheet, and they had enough. Let's go to the overhead. This is interesting, or it would be if I can get there. Okay, there it is. It's down here. Come on. So there's the Metro North substation, the old Greens Farms tower. If I go to the diagram, wherever the diagram is. Oh, come on. I needed... One second. I gotta go there. I had like 3 of these windows open earlier, and then I closed them all. Okay, Connecticut Greens Farms diagram, full crossover, but it's going to be your typical thing. It got removed. You got this gap, but because Metro North was in the position of building from a clean sheet, they went and relocated it slightly, and there's your new... You can see how long it is. It's all high-speed, 80-mile-an-hour high-speed turnouts. So trains approaching to cross over here you get clear signals the whole way through. And you can see how long it is. I mean, I guess you don't have much basis. All you people watching from home don't have a huge basis for comparison. But that's an absolutely monster. You can see the highlight pop up there. That's a monstrously long interlocking. And there's a reason you don't see a lot of... like, there's Saga Movable Bridge. That's the old Burke Extended Limits. That's not a great comparison. Yeah, I don't have another one to pull in. But let's say an Amtrak interlocking like Morris or something would easily be half the distance. It would be like that for number 20 turnouts. These turnouts are number 32.6, number 32.7 turnouts. Metro North has an allergic reaction to spending money on extra point machines. So while Amtrak for an HS, a high-speed turnout, has 3-point machines on the Blade and 2-point machines on the Frog, Metro North just does 1 and 1, and they use a giant backdrive to transmit the force. So throw times on these are going to be not great. If you don't have enough point machines, the way you compensate for that is reduction gearing. Sort of like in the old ways that low voltage DC switch machines would take, a minute or so or fairly long to throw, maybe 20, 30 seconds. So this is going to be switch number 13. Greens Farms, 13. What's the new? It's not in service yet. And that was another reason that pneumatics used to be a popular thing. When you're it allowed you to, with what do you call it? You could bank the energy over an extended period of time. If your compressor could use a very weak motor, and motors were expensive, you only need like one little motor. but then that could work to build up the air, and then when you needed it, it would be there all at once. Oops. There you go. I got a couple here of the new Greens Farms interlocking that was being built. Metro North also likes its bright orange fiber optic, plastic sheathing for its signal cables. Usually that's your typical black PVC, but they really like the orange stuff. I'm definitely shooting through two things here, so I don't think I'm in the vestibule. This would be half of the that's strange. Oh, that's because I'm going the wrong direction. Whoopsies. The first one was not the 12 switch, it's the 42 switch. All comes together, remember? Tracks 1 and 2 in the middle and 3 and 4 on the outside. So this would be the sorry, so the first one was 13. This would be the 12 switch. Yep, or half of it, 12B. Oh, looks like we've hit almost down to our last bit here. This was going to be a short set by a few. Let's see, make sure everything's going on here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, regarding the SPV, I'm pretty sure that while I think the equipment is there, it's disconnected, but it could be probably restored to self-propagation. Oh, man, we got some great photos here. I'm glad these are re-entering the productive flow, and will hopefully be searchable via a variety of mechanisms. Yep, here we have the 21 switch, or at least half of it. Yeah, half of it. Get this finished up. It's the 21A switch. Yeah, I was really trying to get a lot of this stuff here. Yeah, you can see the movable point frogs have a back drive. They use a torsion bar kind of thing, although it's not really a torsion bar. Maybe it is a torsion bar. I'm not sure how much that counts. But instead of using the push and pull rods, Metro North does a thing with turning a torsion bar. The rod pushes and twists the torsion bar. This would be the 24 switch. Gives you a good view of the movable point frogs there. Okay. And this would be most likely the Greens Farm Station. It's not in my diagram. I'll just have to look it up. There's the interlocking, and no, it's Southport. So Metro North has a Southport and a Westport. The question is, do they have Northport and Eastport? Eastport's on Long Island Railroad. I should go do a trip where I go to every port. And Northport is on Port Jeff. Wow, look at that. What a wonderful symmetry that East Southport and Westport are on the New Haven line, and Northport and Eastport are on the Long Island Railroad. Eastport being, where is it? Oh, former. Uh-oh, it's closed. Manorville branch. What? That's weird. Anyway, you can no longer travel to Eastport. But why is it on Google? I guess it's a former station. Historical landmark. Okay. Oh, close enough. Sorry for that diversion there. So anyway, this is the Southport Station. I don't know how much I can really cut off here. I don't really like all this junk. What bridge is that? Oh, just a road bridge. I guess I just gave up and went into the vestibule at this point because the tint went away. Up in the home stretch here, I am so ticked that they got rid of this paint scheme for that Connecticut, CT rail. I'm like, come on. This is like such a winner. I think I'm betting that it had to do with just the nature of Hartford commuter rail getting ticked off that the engines would say New Haven. Because with Shoreline East, I mean, no one's going to New London. I mean, I guess maybe someone could go to New London, but it's New Haven centric. But for the state politicians and the money and everything, I just bet that like most people don't know that's New Haven Railroad. So it would Hartford. Why do someone would bound to complain like, why does Hartford commuter rail say New Haven? You can't quite expect. I don't expect people to, normal people to know about, the railroad that went bankrupt 50 years ago. But it's a shame. This is an excellent paint scheme. They could have modified it to say New Haven and Hartford. New Haven on one side and Hartford on the other. That would have made sense. This is why. Having now worked for an extended period of time, there's often a limited imagination in decision making offices. But if the problem was the fact that it just said New Haven, you put New Haven there in white, like you see it, and then down there you could have put a Hartford, New Haven and Hartford, or Hartford there. New Haven, Hartford. It would, in black, and it wouldn't have been period correct, but it would have gotten the point across, and it would have made made the people in Hartford feel more included. Their tax dollars too. Oh, here's the new bridge, all finished. I mentioned this in one of my previous posts when that was going in, and at this point the bridge was finished. And I think you're gonna see I'm gonna go up to it. You can't get any photos from this bridge, although with GoPros or with magic wands that you can put your camera on, you probably can't. It's likely more accessible. Yeah. So, um, back in the whatever's, Amtrak still had a pretty robust heritage paint scheme system, and a lot of their P40s and P42s were in the heritage Phase 4 paint. So here we have, um, let's see who we got there. Oh, come on, I can't see it. I want to say it's 107. Yeah, it's 107, 824, and 104. I do want to crop this, but I don't want to lose that bumper block. Can I get it out to there? There it is, right there. That'll do it. Crop that guy out of it, too, that sort of watching guy. Damn it. There we go. I guess I'm pretty sure these are used on the shuttles. The 800 series got put into storage and then got stimulus funds about 5 years later to come back in. They pulled 15 back out of service, but they're starting to get end of lifed with the Siemens orders. But we'll see how that goes. You know, the Siemens units aren't taller than these, and I think they're the same length, but the Siemens ones just look weird and long. Could be because of the front truck placement. I'm not sure, but they just look way out of proportion. All right. Yeah, I can't. I'm going to make this full size. A little taller. Yeah, right there should be good. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll keep the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know what the diesel yard looks like at New Haven these days. How many diesels they have there? Here's the old. I'm gonna zoom in on this one. I want to hit the overhead on this. Oh, that's Bridgeport. 1 second. So here's your New Haven Amtrak yard. Looks like there's a good deal of stuff there. 2 P42s, a rando engine, because they got to keep a bunch of maintenance stuff there too. Anyway, here's the sad thing. What did they replace it with? Buses. Oh God. Yeah. So this is SS75 New Haven West Tower. Very very early and expensive. NEC system went in there. I'm sure it was Union Switch and Signal. It controlled like from Mill River down to Woodmont. And I actually got in this tower on August 31st, 2001. So right before 9/11. And it was in the process of... I wonder if I think this tower might have still been open, but I'm not sure. So it had this big old NX machine. And around 2000 with the whole, 2001 with the whole Amtrak rebuilding, they resignaled, but there was still an operator here. He was effectively the Metro North like District G dispatcher, but it was controlled from this location. Around 2005, 2006, they just pulled them all, and they just moved it all downtown. Everything that this guy was, when I was visited, everything was being run on a Windows NT4 workstation with a custom sort of hardware interface to it that was pretty neat. And the big old NX board was still there, but I think either it was all out of service or there was only like 1 or 2 tracks on the station that was still in service. Like they hadn't retired all of it. The way I got in was I went to take a picture on my crappy ass point and shoot film camera, and I had some sort of weirdo malfunction. Like the battery was dying, but I didn't know the battery was dying, so I was trying to like fix it. And the operator like saw me from the window and was just like, "Hey, you want to come up?" And I just rolled up in there, but I had no, I didn't have my film camera available. So I got this really cool experience hanging out there for, maybe 15 minutes. But I was completely unable to document any of it. But it was really neat. Like, it was so cool. They had like New Haven stuff all over the place. For a while, this tower, when it still controlled Mill River, there was an Amtrak operator who was paid by Amtrak operating half the machine and a Metro North operator operating the other half of the machine. So that it was actually 2 functional towers, one of them being New Haven East and New Haven West. Anyway, they closed it, and then sometime between like 2000 and 2005, it gets leveled, and now it's just nothing but a parking lot. And that was just absolutely, like it's nothing. I mean, it's not like they built anything there. Like there's the motor storage yard. They put in 3 bus parking spots. Terrible, absolutely terrible. So at least I'm glad I got this one really nice photo of SS75. Here we have some Amtraks, which are probably SW 1200s. They do not have the switchers there anymore. I'm not sure why they were there. And look, we got a Metro North Jeep in the background. Those are still around. They got rebuilt pretty nicely, too. Amtrak 539 plus. And here, okay, one second. I'm going to check what this one is. 539. Oh, come on. All-time diesel roster, blah, 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 539. There it is. What? No, come on. Am I reading this wrong? Might be old. Go away. There they are. MP15 DCs. Was that so hard? And there's a Metroliner cab car. This is just around when they rebuilt those. First for the Springfield shuttle, and then later for Keystone. I don't know which number that is. I can't. Wait, there it is. 9641. All right, cool, great. Last photo. Wrapping this up, getting everybody home. Thought I went pretty quick on this, but as always, plus 9641. There, good, done. Awesome, great. Let's see what people are saying in the comments. Whoa, we got a lot of stuff here. Gosh. Blah blah blah. Oh, main central. I mean, main central part of Guilford engine. Um, yeah. These photos are Pete in the chat. Yeah, these photos are from 2004. Sorry you missed the stuff. This was an impromptu event. I wasn't planning on doing this today, and then I realized I did have a batch of photos that I could do in one night. Next bunch is definitely going to be in the Christmas time frame, 23rd or 24th through like the. It's going to be 5 days, so like 24th, 3rd through 28th, or something like that. Yeah, I did not get pictures inside SS75. There's something I've seen pictures inside of it. Like I was able to at some point. I did see a photo that confirmed what I had sort of saw. Yeah, that it of the machine with like partly in operation and partly not in operation. Because I think the guy said it looked like the whole thing was done. Because he wasn't even looking at it. But he said that they only had like a couple tracks left. Because a lot of there was paper pasted up all over the parts that weren't in use anymore. Not like big sheets, but little note cards and things to sort of block out the stuff. Um, uh, Yeah, I have pictures of yeah. If you, I'll drop my email in chat if you ever want to send me stuff. I always love to check out more. So anyway, yeah, it's like I said, it lives in my memories. It was a really neat trip. It was the first time I'd gotten into a tower, and I wasn't even trying. Like I said, the guy just saw me and just yelled at me. I thought he was gonna, before 9/11, I didn't get yelled at a lot. But it happened occasionally. I thought the guy was going to yell at me for whatever. But no, he was like, "Hey, you want to come up?" And I just ran around and got up there. So, yeah. Anyway, I got to get going. I've been doing this for 90 minutes. I thought I was going faster than I normally do. But thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the Christmas ones. I'm definitely going to schedule them ahead of time when I know what my schedule, when I know what days they'll be up. And I'm going to have them announced on my NRHS chapter. Also, anyone in the Philly area, my midwinter trip's going to be ostensibly on the 28th, 27th or 29th for weather dates. It's going to be walking tour downtown Philly, meet at Market East Station, West Concourse. At 9:30 to 10, 9:30. But if you have an issue, and you contact me, we can wait for you up to 10. It's gonna be a nice little walking tour at some center city spots, outdoors. It won't be too cold. It's Philly. Philly doesn't get that cold. So, anyway, thank you everybody. Sorry, and Pete. Just remember that. It's gonna be public for a bit. On my channel at some point I'll make it unlisted, but if you go back and just check the channel for the live events, you'll see it. You'll see the link up there for a bit, so you can go watch what you missed. All right, I'll see you. Bye. Oops.